To order. And at this time, there's no regrets for tonight, so we'll now pause to seek guidance for tonight's meeting. I'm now going to read the mission statement of the municipality. The mission statement is to provide, promote, and facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs while preserving, supporting, and enhancing the quality of life for all. We're now going to go to the approval of the agenda, additions and deletions. Under I'd like to put under 5.5 an addition, which would be a request from the Southwest African Heritage Month Gala Dinner. Last week. Okay, 5.6, sorry. A request to purchase tickets at a table for the dinner. Is there anything else?
Yes, like to add 5.7, an update on rural internet.
Okay. Anything else? Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended, please?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. The next thing is presentation, and at this time we've got Harold Alexander here to do a presentation on the report. Can I have a motion for Harold to come forward?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome, Harold. The floor is yours.
I think I'll stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see lots of faces, all faces tonight. So, might or might not be good for you guys. But anyway, I guess I'll start right into my pretty pictures here. So I got to go to Finland last fall, 2016. And I discovered that I knew a little bit about the country, but I didn't realize they were as crazy about hockey as we are, maybe even more so. Finland's a very northern country, and this is a picture I took when I was walking on this incredible trail through the forest. And you can just see hockey nets if you look really close, but this dad's obviously crazier than my mom, crazier than I was with my kids, so lots of opportunities there. So anyway, I got this right. Is it supposed to do that? We're going to try to click it forward. There we go. So the other thing I noticed in the weekend a little bit that we were there, the Finns are a lot about fitness and outdoors, and they spend a huge amount of money on trails, both for walking and biking, and just unbelievable. I think I'm going backwards. Okay. There we go. So this is one of the trails that was 2 minutes from the door of the house we rented for a full week that we were there. And it was right next to like a 500-hectare park area with trails all the way through it. Like, just incredible. Another trail in the same park, all paved. Anyway, the meat and potatoes of what I'm here for is this tour was the first week of October 2016. And a bunch of us who were involved in small private forestry in Nova Scotia went to Finland to see how come they're so successful in managing small private forests and we're not. So these are the people that went. I turn some lights down, or just a few. Just a few. I think the picture of Okay, perfect. So the guy by himself on the far left is Peter Birchall. He lives in Antigonish, works at Port Hawkesbury with a lot of owners down there. He's a forester. First guy on the left in the big picture is Juha, one of our hosts in Finland. He works at Woodlot owners there. Jim Croker from Brookfield with the hat. He's a Woodlot owner. Melanie Hobbs from Central area, forest engineer, myself. Yuka, another Finnish host, and John McDougall on the far right from Waverly area, another forester. So 5 of us went, representation from across Nova Scotia, and we visited with 22 very educated forestry people in the 5 days we spent on the road there. So I was going to organize a trip, and what I asked when I was dealing with them over there is, could we look at an area that was similar in size to western Nova Scotia, so we could compare the forestry stats from that region to the forestry stats from western Nova Scotia. So this area is it's northern Savo. You can try to pronounce that if you want to, but anyway. So the region of northern Savo in Finland, and Helsinki is directly south on the coast from there, about 4 to 4.5 hours drive. The amount of forest they have in that region is about 1.4 million hectares. And the important thing for you guys to know is 70% of it is owned by small private owners. In western Nova Scotia, it's about 50% ownership. So if you take the 72% and multiply it by the 1.4 million hectares, it gives you about 1 million hectares of small private forest. Just keep that in mind. So we went to compare the 7 western counties in Nova Scotia partly to that area in Finland, because we've started a new group, the Western Woodlot Services Co-op, which is going to be providing services to woodlot owners to help them manage their forest lands. Much like, for anybody who's familiar with Sissebu, who I used to work with a long time ago, this is a big Sissebu, with a lot less money than we used to have way back then. So like I say, it's a service area for the Western Woodlot Services Co-op. So comparing the 2 regions, and I'll go through this quickly. The Finns know where every tree in the forest is. They know who owns it. They know how big it is. They know when it will be marketable size. They know which mill it's going to go to. It's just incredible the amount of information they have, the amount of research they do, all kinds of stuff. So if you look at the number of owners, we don't know how many owners there is in Western Nova Scotia. The amount of forest area, we have a rough idea that there's over 900,000 hectares of 7 counties that are small private. That's about 50% of the forest. And then you got crown land and large private and industrial. Besides that, we make up the other 50%.
Excuse me, when you're saying large private?
It's private owners who own more than like 5,000.
Okay, there.
They're big, small private owners. They're not big, small private. They're big private forest owners.
Thank you.
Some of the sawmills would be in that category.
Okay.
So if you look at the annual forest growth, they know how much it is for the small private forest. They know exactly what the harvest is. And the good thing about us is we know what the harvest is too, because we have a pretty good record-keeping system for that now, DNR does. But we don't know how much, how fast our forest is growing, and we know there's red spruce out there, but we don't know how much there is. We know there's white pine, we don't know how much there is. We have, because we lost a lot of our industry, after the crash of 2009, we have 1 large sawmill left in western Nova Scotia. That's Freeman's in Queens County. In that region of Finland, they have 8 to 10 large sawmills. They didn't lose any of their industry. In pulp and paper, there's 1 pulp and paper mill in the region, and there's 5 others within 150 kilometer radius, which is really close to trucking wood. They have between 50 and 70 forestry professionals working with owners alone, and then lots of other government support besides that. And so in the 7 western counties, we have 1 person. That's the manager of our new co-op. And some of us dabble in the industry, but we're not full-time forestry professionals working with woodlot owners. So, why is Finland so successful? And that's the question we went there to answer. So how come they didn't lose a lot of their industry, in the downturn? Another important question, do Finnish trees grow faster than they do in Nova Scotia? No, they don't. And I think on average, our forest site capability in Nova Scotia is better than theirs. They're a very northern country. A lot of their country is within the Arctic Circle. And so we're very much further south than them. Our climate's warmer. And if it wasn't for the Gulf Stream, they probably wouldn't grow trees very big. So are Finnish trees potentially more valuable? No, we have, yellow birch, sugar maple, red oak, white pine, trees that they don't have. They have a northern boreal forest, which is a very simple forest. Ours is very complex, Acadian forest. So I think we have a lot more opportunities to grow higher value wood than them. But you would never know driving the roadside. So the differences in Finland, that makes them so much better at it is the culture of forestry and forest. The people in Finland really understand how important the forests are, not only for economic benefits, but you saw the pictures, the trails, right? For that kind of thing. The landowner support network, the woodlot owners are all connected. They're a very powerful lobby in Finland. The government really knows who woodlot owners is in Finland. They have very intensive sustainable forest management. And they, like I said already, they know where every tree is, and they have this incredible inventory. And finally, they just spend a lot of effort developing markets for all grades of wood. Culture. Forests are green gold for the owners and the economy. The average woodlot owner who owns about 40 hectares or less of forest land in Finland, the average income every single year is about $7,000 from the woodlot. They might not get that every year, but the average, like over a 10-year period, would be $70,000 for a literally small woodlot. That's because their wood is a lot more valuable than ours, partly because of the efficiencies that we talked about half an hour ago. The landowners are very knowledgeable and active. Almost every single woodlot has a management plan and belongs to a local association. And there's a long-term commitment to forest management, to farming forests. We were told they're allowed to cut their woodlots down from one end to the other, just like you see around here. People sell their wood, and the contractor starts on one boundary and he doesn't stop till he gets to the other boundary. Whereas in Finland, the owners won't do that because they want to leave some trees for themselves and for the next generation. This lady, farmer in the forestry, they just manage their forest. They don't cut the wood. Contractors cut the wood. We visited with them, and she went over their management plan and all the economics associated with it. The amount of information that she provided us was incredible. Landowner support network. So, there's 633,000 woodlot owners. They're all literally connected, almost every single one of them, through these organizations, local, regional, and national. Elected boards at the local level, elected boards at the regional level. And they also, like I said, intensively manage their forests. And the amazing thing is almost all their forests are planted. But you'd never know driving the roadsides. They don't look like they're planted forests. They focus on maximizing productivity. And personal things, they do a lot of thinning. And so what this means, 73% of the harvest area, that means that for every 4 hectares of land that's cut, that there's wood cut in, only 1 hectare is clear cut. So this is like a mature stand of mostly Norway spruce, a little bit of Scots pine. It shows all 3 their main. They only have 3 main species: Norway spruce, Scots pine, and white birch. And so when this stand gets mature, what they'll do is they'll cut a small block of it, 2 or 3 hectares, instead of cutting the woodlot from one end to the other. And then they put a machine on there and they mix up the organic matter with the soil. That's good planting sites. This is Jim Croker from South Brookfield, Queens County, planting a tree. So this is what their cutovers look like, planting, selected trees on them. It's literally within a year of the harvest. And then, so finished forestry, they plant most of their forests, fast forward 20, 25, 30 years, depending on how good the site is. And you do a first thinning, where the product that comes out is mostly pulpwood. And, pulp is gold in Finland, and half of their wood is sold at pulp and paper mills. Anyway, this is Anna, the one I showed earlier. This is her husband, Lucy, on the right, and I can't remember her son's name. Second generation farmer and forest owner. So this is a picture from on the Digby Neck Crossroad, which is very similar, very familiar around here now. Things like almost every corner you go around, there's another woodlot that's disappeared. And so if you look at that woodlot, it's been clear cut indiscriminately. A lot of the pulpwood has been left on the site because there's no market for it in western Nova Scotia. And it's just, in my view, a real mess. There's no site preparation, there's no planting, there's no plan to do that. But, so this is a woodlot that I've managed since I've come here for 39 years ago. It's Jimmy Dunn's woodlot. Jimmy just passed away recently at the age of 90. But I've been working with him to manage his lands for, let's say, 31 years. And so this is a stand on his woodlot. It's been thinned twice, a natural stand. You can see some stumps there. And so, in the model that I use as a forester in Digby County mostly is what you'll see in the next few pictures. So instead of planting trees, we use what we call natural regeneration management. Almost exactly the same system of thinning over the life of the forest as we do in Finland, except they plant the trees and we regenerate them naturally. So this is a red spruce stand, very similar to Norway spruce. So you start to open up these stands as they get older. You'll see all this young red spruce regen on the ground. And, small clear cut, same as Finland. Half a hectare to a hectare, or a little bit bigger. You see the young trees, even 1 year after the final harvest, they're really starting to grow. Fast forward 10 to 15 years, these stands are 3 to 4 meters tall, and it's time for the first cleaning or thinning. A few years later, you can see all the little tiny stumps where the trees were cut, the smaller trees, or the poor quality ones were cut. Leave the better ones to grow. And then fast forward another 10 or 15 years, and another thinning is required. Same as Finland, almost exactly the same. Same time period. Species are a little bit different, but very similar. So then we're back to where we were just now. An older forest that's becoming mature to over mature, and if you want, those dollars in your economy, you probably want to cut that down and start over again. This is Jim Croker on his woodlot in South Brookfield. This is white pine, the species that is used by Lewis Moldens and Wood Specialties. And, this is the potential that we have to grow trees like that. But unfortunately, so to kind of sum up on the forest management side, this is a 5-year-old clear cut. And as you can see, even if you're not a forester, there's not much of any value that's grown on that lot in 5 years. This is one of the lots we've been managing, and that's the difference. This is healthy young red spruce. It's going to grow up and look like the previous lot.
Oh, that would be 5 years.
Yeah, clear tall as us, George. 2 meters tall. So in Finland, the market for wood is just unbelievable. Saw logs, pulp and paper, energy wood. There's over 800 district heating centers in the country. Now, they're 5 times as big as us, so that means that if we had the equivalent number of district heating systems in Nova Scotia, we'd have 160 or so. If pulpwood's 50% of the harvest, and saw logs are almost 40 in energy wood, which is mostly branches, small tops, and stumps. You even dig stumps out for energy wood because they'd rather do that than burn coal from Russia. And then there's the new growth part of the wood forest sector, is what they call the bioeconomy. And sometime when you have time, just Google bioeconomy on the internet and start reading about what they're doing in Europe. Pharmaceuticals from trees. So this is the district heating plant that we visited. It's in this city of 100,000 we were staying in. They have 6,000 heat customers and 6,000 electricity customers. And they literally heat half of this city and provide electricity for it. And this plant, as far as I could tell, is 4 to 8 times bigger than the plant in Port Hawkesbury that everybody was complaining about it being too big. The difference with this one, it's really efficient. They don't waste the heat. They use the heat to heat homes and schools and hospitals. So, very efficient. So, the final meat and potatoes of what I came here to talk to you guys about is the economic impact of managing forests. So in 2016, Gardner Pinfold did a study of the Nova Scotia forest sector using 2015 numbers. And this is what it told us. That the economic impact of the forest sector, including the direct and indirect benefits, generated $2.1 billion, okay? And 11,500 direct and indirect jobs. So if we go back to this slide here, and I was talking to Jim about this earlier. If you look at the production from almost the same land base, look at the middle of the slide, 7 Western counties, 756,000 cubic meters per year. We harvested in 2015 in the small private forest of Western Nova Scotia, and the Finns harvested almost 6 times as much wood. Okay? So if we take the total economic impact and we divide it by the total harvest in Nova Scotia that year, we get the amount of impact that comes from every cubic meter of wood. I know this is pretty complicated and technical, but anyway, just bear with me. So every cubic meter of wood, and a cubic meter of wood is doing half the size of a cord of wood. Okay? A meter. Just imagine a cubic meter of wood. All right? So every cubic meter of wood in Nova Scotia in 2015 generated, on average, $560 for the economy. So if you take the harvest, 756,000 from 7 Western counties from small private, and you multiply it to $423 million worth of economic impact. Now, the woodlots that my partner Brian and I manage, we produce at least 3 times, probably closer to 4 times as much wood as the average in Western Nova Scotia. So what I'm saying to you is if we could double or triple the wood coming, sustainably from the small private forests in Western Nova Scotia, we're talking about billions of dollars, right, for our economy. So you say, how come we're doing it? And that's my question. How come we're not doing it? So, summary and discussion. Considering that we've lost almost all our forest products manufacturing facilities in Western Nova Scotia in the last 10 years, and there isn't any current leadership regionally or provincially working to change this, and considering that since 1993 we seem to have lost our way in managing our small private woodlots in Western Nova Scotia. In the 1980s, when I was working for Sisterwood, there was 20 people working with small private owners in Western Nova Scotia. And now we're down to 12. That's what I do. So, okay. And now we're down to 1. Anyway, considering that when comparing our forest sector in Western Nova Scotia to Finland, there appears to be a huge opportunity to create jobs and wealth for our region. And considering that the progress to date is we have just started the Western Woodlot Services Co-op and are working with Gordon Wilson, redeveloping local markets for low-grade wood and oil to wood conversions in government buildings. And so there's our co-op that we just started with one person managing and some other people under contract to do some different work. And this is a map of Finland showing all the district heating systems. And so that's, I guess the question I want to leave with you guys, where can we go? Where should we go from here? And what part do you guys want to play in? And you don't have to give me the answer to that tonight, but I just wanted to make a presentation to get you guys thinking that forests are an economic opportunity. And we have the ECOAs, and we got the Western Wren, and Wrens all over the place, and we got regional, we got municipal governments that have their own economic development initiatives, and it doesn't seem like any of them know about this opportunity in the forest. And then we have DNR, which in my opinion, they've retreated to the ivory towers of Halifax in the last 20 years. We don't even have a DNR office in Digby County anymore. And that's not what we saw in Finland in terms of support for woodlot owners. Okay? So we have what I think is a sad situation, and I just wanted to put it to you guys. I'm willing to work with you, provide more information. I'm willing to work with whoever. Like I say, we're going to revisit, hopefully very soon, the district heat opportunity in Digby for the hospital and the schools. First time we looked at that, we included electricity generation in the mix, and that kind of killed the thing right from the get-go. It didn't even have a chance, okay? So, but there's no reason why we couldn't revisit that for heat only. Heat only is every bit as efficient, or it can be more efficient than cogen facilities. And cogen facilities are really expensive.
Cogen or both?
Yes, electricity and heat. So, anyway, I'm going to leave it there, and I get time to answer. I'm over my time, Jim, sorry about that.
All right.
But, anyway.
Are you looking at Highview as well?
Highview's got a brand new geothermal heating system, and I was involved with another guy, talked to them about doing a little heat way back then, and I'd say it's too late for them now. But, we have a lot of buildings that are using oil. Both of our schools here, the elementary and the high school, the hospital's still using oil, and they're fairly close together. We have the arena that could possibly, I don't know, how their existing heating system is working. I don't know how the malls heat it. We have two malls, basically, two small ones, all in the vicinity. We have the Yarmouth Hospital. And what we need in terms of improving the management of woodlots in the area, I don't know if anybody knows, I'm sure Matt has noticed us we're working on Larry Goodwin's woodlot in Hillgrove, and you drive by and you see a different kind of forestry than what we're used to. And that's what we do. We do a lot of thinning, and we need markets for a lot of low-grade wood. Pulp market's gone. You don't have markets for energy wood. So we can get local markets, and the only one we have right now is the University of St. Anne. And so we're lucky that we can sell our wood through Spec Resources.
Harold, the elementary school doesn't burn chips anymore?
Our business used to sell them chips, but the janitors are running the system, and it just doesn't work, right? It's not in their contract to do that, and the system was down a lot, and I just got fed up with it after a while. And plus, the system is fairly old, and I think it needs some upgrades, but.
So they don't use it anymore?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Council, please.
Yeah, a lot of challenges. Little government support in the forest itself, little forest management, little market development. Like, there's quite the list. You're giving the information gathering, like the use of the information available to get travel even distance to shipping to be processed. It's like every single check you could think of. What would you think that somebody like an organization us would be a good place to start?
Well, if you look at
Market for the
if you look at the low-grade wood markets, you know, like my preference would be that the woodlot owners would own the systems. Be the third part, like, so we're gonna hopefully use the government, what Gordon tells me is they're trying to develop a one-page policy right now between all the departments of government. 4 politicians went to PEI with us a little over a month ago, and we traveled with them, myself and Mike Gushu. So Gordon drove, and we had the Minister of Finance, Karen Casey, with us, and we had the MLA from Waverly. I forget what his name is now, and Captain South Shore was with us too. But so we went to look at PEI, where almost every one of their hospitals and schools, nursing homes, are being heated by third-party operators selling heat to those institutions. And what it does is gives forestry people like us markets for our wood. And it also has this whole buy local impact on the local economy, right? So instead of, you look at oil and natural gas, the impact on the local economy is almost this. But if you start using local wood, it gives us an opportunity to improve the forest, improve the quality of forest, higher value added over time, like what Lewis and
All
Mulvey
the
is
check
doing.
pays you to clear out your lot to make it more valuable.
Yes.
3 or 4 times.
So like I say, we have a group started that's going to help with lot owners with that. And one of the places over the longer term that the municipalities might be able to help with is adding some money to the pot so we can hire more technical staff to ramp it up more quickly. In Finland right now today, we're at the wood base for 99% of everything that happens in the forest. But this is not, we're not going to need our hands out to government forever. We need to find a way to make this happen.
Like we were talking 50 to 70 employees on the ground in an area where we have one employee. It definitely, it seems like a tremendous problem. How's that paid for? Who pays for that? Those are all government employees. Is it just added economic activity?
So right now, for that group, the government and DNR, through DNR, for this fiscal year, they're giving us $300,000 to operate on the 7 counties. We used to get more money than that in the late 1970s for Digby County alone. We had 2 groups. We had the Florida Assisted Living, we had forestry staff. So
lobbying problems? How are they able to?
DNR is on the bottom of the totem pole as ministers in government. I mean, if you look at all the Latin that goes on in the media about, the social media, it's pretty easy now to be critical of everything that goes on in the forest. Like, I'm not a fan of a lot of things that are going on in the forest, but there's a small amount of good things going on, but we need to focus on what we can do. And I would suggest to you that crown lands on average in western Nova Scotia would be better managed than small private. So, anyway.
One question for you. What are other companies doing with that small wooden brush and stuff now?
Mostly they're leaving it on the ground.
Just leaving it on the ground, not even chipping it up.
Can't sell it.
Which is then killing anything on the ground that can't even grow. But there was seedlings there.
It makes it very difficult. It makes it difficult to operate here.
Harold, how successful are you trying to pull the small woodlot owners together under the association to work to try to achieve this?
Like I'll just go back with my history with Sisselville. Sometimes people ask me, how many woodlot owners are going to participate, voluntarily? Because that's where we're at right now, without regulation saying you have to. And when I worked with Sisselville, I was there 9 years, and we went from 0 to 25% of the owners with management plans within those 9 years. And if we had the resources the dollars to have the staff, but we can't do it without markets, right?
Yeah, there's,
You know, and primarily in the short, so that's why I focus on those two things, the low-grade wood markets and the group, the technical support for the group. So I think, you know, within 25 years, we could probably get close to 50% of the owners. And there's still, even though there's a lot of wood being cut, there's still a lot of wood lots. Like Larry Goodwin, there's a significant amount of wood standing in the forest, and it has incredible potential. You know, we lost Irvin's mill in Wayne. It was one of the biggest mills in the province. We lost the biggest mill in Oak Hill, the Waters Mill. We lost the paper mill there. We lost Camo Lumber. We lost the mill in the sawmill in White Rock, which was the biggest mill in the valley. Well, my mill is a joke. It's a putter mill. Not the kind of mills that are going to, you know, drive this economy. Right?
Is there a good market still for high-grade wood, at least from Canada?
In North America, in the last 2 years, the price of lumber has increased by 40%.
the last how many years?
2 years. So the other thing I want you guys to Google when you get a chance is tall wooden buildings. So the world is starting to recognize now how green and carbon-friendly wood is as a building material compared to steel and concrete. So if you go tall wooden building in British Columbia or on the UBC campus, you can even watch the construction. The buildings go together like Lego blocks, right? So I think you're getting that in markets. For me, watching this like for almost 40 years now, I think we're at a crossroads in forestry. The opportunities for the future are going to be enormous. Right? Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just thinking too, like, the price woodlot owners are getting for the wood probably hasn't changed, even though the price has gone up worldwide. If we don't have any mills, there's no competition. The woodlot owner's not getting the price for the
That's
wood.
exactly where we're at. The one mill that we have in western Nova Scotia, and we're grateful they send us a check every week or two, right, for the wood that we ship them. But their price hasn't changed in 2 years, and the price has gone up. They don't need to pay more for wood to get more wood. You know, and so in Finland there's a lot of competition with the technology. So I just touched on Finland a little tiny bit, right? And I just wanted to give you guys a sense, you know, of the opportunity, and I'd like to work with you. So I really don't want to take up a whole lot more of your time tonight. I know.
Councilor Tudor had one more question.
I was just wondering if the Redmond this would be something that they could look at. It sort of seems to be a geographically similar area. Has there been any talks about talking to Russian?
So there was a representative from the REN at the Western Woodlot Owners Conference in Caledonia last March, and she said she would be in touch to talk about the Finland. And she finally got a hold of me this last week by email and said she's going to try to get me, you know, talk to the board or whatever. I just find it so frustrating. I've been involved with economic development, you know, community futures and the development authorities, and we talk and we talk and we talk, and we don't do anything. So, you know, it'd be nice if we could bring all those people who are involved in economic development initiatives and say, you know, this is a monster, right, our forest. And sometimes the jurisdictional issue gets in the way. I say, oh, that's a provincial jurisdiction. But I really think if we're going to make something happen quick, municipal governments need to get involved and really put some boots to work at it. I do.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you, Charlie.
It's a really good presentation.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, awesome.
Anyway, don't forget where I live and what my email is and what my phone number is.
Just wanted to tell you, you have a red person behind you,
Mm-hmm.
that I hope is going to be helpful.
Okay. I hope too.
He's awesome. I know that guy.
I'm glad you did that because I found reading that really tough.
It's,
I
yeah.
really did. It was like, I crossed,
They put you to sleep.
my eyes would cross, and I'd leave it, and I'll be on the side. Yeah, see, I found it hard to go through.
Yeah,
No, it's pretty hard to sit and read all at once.
I couldn't.
Want to stick around for a minute?
Sure.
Okay. We're now gonna move on to, the minutes from November the 27th. A motion for approval.
motion to approve.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Unfinished business from the minutes of November the 27th. We've gotten a letter back regarding, a repeater for the North of Green Tower, and, I'm gonna update council on that.
Just that I spoke by phone with, I think the manager of Bell Mobility, asking about the equipment that they have on the North Range Tower, and first response was that there's not a business case to put equipment there, or to increase their equipment, and then when I actually called, Jim Provost, he said that Bell has no equipment on that tower now. And there didn't seem to be a business case at the time to put equipment in. I haven't done anything.
I'd like for us to be able to, have a meeting with Bill and to discuss this.
Yeah, I would like to make that a motion, that we have a meeting,
I'll second it.
Okay, and before we vote on it, I just want to say, it's not just about this, it's about also talking about how, what their plans are for, improved, internet capacity in the whole region.
You hear rumors, rumors, but nothing's concrete.
The cellular and internet, so it'd be nice to have that discussion with them. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
True.
Who owns the tower back there? Because they don't own it, they don't have any equipment on it.
It's a Eastlink, isn't it?
No, it's probably.
It's a provincial tower.
Does Eastlink have something on it there?
They use the rural internet.
Oh, okay, so that company does.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move now on to the CAO report. Everybody's had a chance to review the meeting, reminders for the upcoming meetings from now till actually till April 2nd. Anybody have any conflicts with any of those dates? Okay, action items from previous meetings. Any questions for the CAO?
Have you heard anything about the potential for the burning oil or burning cooking oil? Power generation?
You don't?
For
Where's
the
that?
power grid. I might be missing this up. Sorry,
That's
check
fine.
it. I'll ask in 20 minutes.
Anyway, not on there, because I'm aware.
Okay. The site for the digester.
Oh, so that was
Using generator. I thought maybe now we could kind of ask, obviously not.
It's not in the business horizon.
Oh, okay.
There's no, and there's no.
Sorry, and thanks.
anything else? If not, you've got update on capital projects in 2017, 2018. Got a chance to review those. Anybody have any questions? I have one. When they stove there, it said something about they put the filter back in or something. Why would they have taken the filter out anyway?
It's like any mechanical device, if we use it year round, we will basically quarter the lifespan we had anticipated and what we had seen previously for odors. Whatever is happening in that system, it's clearly not just triggered by the heat of summer, is what has been determined, which is not really good. The scrubber is working, which is the good news. The bad news is whatever caused the odors is not just heat related.
filter on, it alleviates the issue.
It alleviates the issue. But yes, it was very evident within a day. Okay, you're hoping to go to just blowing the air and the air circulation like we had in the past winters.
Right.
But that was proven very quickly not to be.
Okay. Any other questions? We're gonna move now to the financial reports. Motion to approve the payables for November 2017 of $375,719.56.
So move the amount of tables.
And second. All in favor?
Aye.
And for December 2017, the payroll was $284,702.21.
Okay, Linda. Or,
Motion to approve, do you have a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. The next thing is the strategic priorities items and update on corporate now priorities. And, I believe you'll see that we've accomplished most of the stuff that's on that list. And on the upcoming, file policy meeting, we'll be having a further discussion on what we are going to look at for 2018. Any questions?
looking forward to it. It worked really well last year. I'm sure it'll keep working with it.
Okay, we're going to move now to the standing committee items and bylaw and policy recommendations. And the first one is the Canadian Volunteer Fire Association Municipal Lawn Service Award.
I so move that we purchase 50 Canadian Volunteer Fire Service Association Municipal Lawn Service Awards at a cost of $2,925, plus $100 for our annual corporate membership to be forwarded to the budget process.
Seconder?
I'll second for it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Next is the appointment of Amanda Marshall as Assistant Fire Inspector.
I so move the appointment of Amanda Marshall as the Assistant Fire Inspector.
All in favor? Or
Aye.
Second. Sorry, got ahead of myself. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved, thank you. And the next is the dangerous and unsightly premises procedures.
I so move that the procurement decision must be made by the CAO. Well, actually, do we want to bless them or just say the revised? I so move the revised dangerous and unsightly premises procedures policy be updated as presented.
Second.
Seconded.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move right on to the business items. Sister Landing, letter of support. Sorry.
I just think maybe we should mention that we have gone through this policy and discussed it, just so that people realize, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Warden.
Yes. So the update of this year's policy change to this bylaw was to make the process more efficient where the management in the building department could now spend up to $2,000 without having to come to the CAO or the council. And from $2,000 to $10,000, the CAO would make the authorization to any necessary expenditures for remediation of property. And then anything over $10,000 would still come back to the council. Now we're going to move on to business items. This is the landing letter of support. And everybody's had a chance to review that. We'll get a chance.
I so move that we take this to the budget process.
They're asking for letters.
Oh, sorry. I so move that we do the letter of support to the Weymouth Waterfront Development Committee.
Second?
Second.
Yeah, this is for the.
Yeah, I read it. No, it was just, I was thinking it was both.
It's the requirements for provincial funding. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. The next one is the annual Robbie Burns dinner, and I'm going to declare a conflict as my sister is the manager there, so I'm going to ask the deputy warden to take over for that discussion?
I'll be. Yeah.
A letter has come in from the Fundy YMCA. Last year, a decision was made by council, for this event, that if the council wanted to go, it's $75 a person, that they would pay their own. This is asking for a table, which is a table of 8. I feel that we made a great decision last year, but how do others feel that we're not?
This is the only request for any sort of funding or support they've given us.
Oh, no, we support the Fundy YMCA.
Not for,
Yeah, so if you wanna go to the dinner, you can pay
If you wanna go to the
$75.
dinner, you pay the $75.
yeah. I've never gone to one. It's just, yeah.
We have not done this.
Just thought I'd bring that up. You said we give them money yearly? No, I thought there was just the
We
one
had
initial.
passed, we had someone said,
12,500 is for, I think, 4-year commitment.
we were one.
Okay, so we got.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, I didn't think that was so long. All right, just wondering. I agree with what we did last year.
So would someone like to make the motion that?
And we don't need a
There's
motion.
no motion.
Oh, there's no motion, okay.
Just anyone who wants to go.
Yeah, I've already got it.
Second.
Okay, and would someone like?
There you go. They gave me a bunch of free Y passes last time. The Y to take to the school as gifts because there's not very many Islanders that get down there, but there's been more going, and I was hoping you guys, you know, if you're good at school, you get these currencies and they have like raffles for prizes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If we're good at council chambers, we can have a raffle. Yeah, get to go swimming. On the slide.
Okay, we're gonna move now to the, Town of Shelburne Rural Nova Scotia Healthcare Crisis, so that little came in. They were talking about having a group or get together with different elected officials and other people of interest for the healthcare issues, and they're saying in cooperation with the Nova Scotia Health Coalition.
That's Tony Halliburton, right?
No, it's bigger than, it's different than that. But, currently, right now, I believe that we're making some pretty good progress with working with the health authority. We've got opportunities where I had a talk with the Warden Sinclair yesterday, and talked to the MLA and talked to the mayor of the town of Digby. We're looking at potentially going to Sherbrooke to recruitment, and I think there's some opportunities there. So at the hospital, they're getting ready to put a dialysis unit in. Progress is being made over there for improvements and making the hospital more beneficial to the local residents. We do have 2 new doctors that came here, plus another doctor that's working here on an interim basis. Just in the last little while, we've met with 2 young people that are in medical school right now. They're interested potentially in looking at us when they graduate. So we are moving along pretty good, and we got, the health authority changed their direction of thinking when they looked at Dr. Kawena, so we can now try to recruit a Dr. Kawena. And so I feel that we're starting to make some positive change in healthcare for here. It's not perfect yet, but it is moving in the right direction. We still need to attract more health professionals for this region, but I feel that right now there's been pretty good progress in the last, say, 6 months.
Well, it looks better than a year ago.
Right. So
No,
I'd like to keep focusing on what we're doing right now and moving in the direction we're going in. And I know they're working on trying to get nurse practitioners down the islands as well. So there is work being done on that, and there's a recruiter now for this area, and that's working on trying to attract health professionals as well. Councilor Tudor.
Yeah, well, that's all excellent. You know, it's nothing but a function of good news, but I don't see how good news in that front would include us working with other partners in regards to the many, many challenges that the health delivery system in our area has. I don't see how heading up there, seeing what they're saying, and adding our voice together. 'Cause I've always thought one of the reasons that the health authority's been able to get away with what it has over the years, is the lack of us working together, and being strong allies. And I would like to see.
Right now, we've got a positive relationship working with the health authority.
How would this make it not a positive? How would working with others who are all concerned, we're all wanting the same thing, how would that?
Well, I don't see the need for us to do that right now. Now, if we weren't having any progress with the province on trying to attract doctors for here, then I could see it. But right now, I feel that we're moving in the right direction.
Like, we are getting some progress, but like I said, I don't see how working with others is something different.
But, like,
I don't think they would defend the health
No.
authority, they'd
All
stop
I'm trying
working
to
with
say-
us if we went to this meeting.
what I'm trying to say is we have to have a positive mindset on moving forward.
And you think that this group would not have a positive?
I don't know, I'm not
Positive?
saying that they would or not, but I've heard, okay.
Yeah, I spoke to Mayor Karen Martell at the conference last week. And what they're just trying to do is us to work as a group to see how we can benefit. It's not a bashing. To me, I agree with Councilor Tudor, but I don't think listening or attending, however, to this meeting would not be a benefit.
Or negatively affect our
Or a
relationship
negative,
with the health authority.
I mean, she was telling me about this, and I told her that she should, send a letter over and see from there.
Yeah.
But she said they were already in the process of doing it.
Councilor Ross.
I don't see a problem with it. I also think, Jimmy, I know there's a lot of positives with this, but I also think maybe it should be brought into the Courier, maybe a write-up about the positives, because people still don't know. I just read in the Courier today another write-up about somebody, a negativity in it. I've been asked in the last couple of weeks, I've had lots of people come to me, has anybody got a phone call from 811? I've asked other people at the seminar that me and Linda went to last week. Nobody has heard from 811. Anybody on that list? We have 2 new doctors. Nobody's come to me saying they got a phone call. So I know there's a lot of positives, and I know there has been change. I know that. But I think the public needs to hear that, some of these things, and because it's not getting out there. There's still a lot of negativity, and I do see the positives, but it doesn't hurt to kind of keep going, because, like I said, this 811 number, everybody asks me, and I keep telling them to go to it, but nobody's got a phone call, and it's very frustrating. A lot of people are upset.
And I like the idea to keep the pressure on, if for nothing else, than to just pound the idea that they got to communicate with people better. How things are down in Ireland is definitely less than ideal. And that's one of those real simple things that people have been repeatedly telling, they're just, starting to get a little, well, at least they're acknowledging that they have a problem. But I think all these sorts of groups it's important that we join with them. We do have a real big problem.
I have no problem saying this positive thing about the authorities.
You got a doctor.
I mean, we've sat here and said negative stuff.
Yeah.
But we still need to keep on them, because
Well, they don't want to communicate the positive things. You don't hear about it.
I think the reason she came and spoke to me because she knows I'm very interested in healthcare and where it's going. And I also was telling her what was happening with our women doctor recruiting as well as the recruiting you're on. So, to me, I think it's benefit. And to me, whether it's you, or me, or David, or all of us,
Yeah, all of us.
want to.
It's on video. We could do it from our homes on the computer. You don't have to spend a bunch of money driving to the shower.
I don't know, but I'd like to be part of it.
They haven't decided on whether they have it yet, from my understanding.
I suspect it will be ours.
You don't need a motion for this, or, you know, we can just attend it.
Well, no, I think it's gotta be decided. If
We gotta decide from council if we're going to take part in this, that's right?
I move that we take part in the, healthcare symposium, hosted by the town of Shopper.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
second that.
Any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Is it happened to us all?
No, it's just that I really,
We want to keep things positive.
I want to stay positive. I feel that we're making some positive steps forward.
With you on that.
But I agree 100% with you, what you said about communication. Communication is key, and people got to know the good news stories as they come out.
Yep.
And also they got to know they need to be kept abreast of what's actually taking place.
See, I think a lot of it is, you know, when you're telling people, that, you know, it is doing better, that more people are being seen, and they're saying, well, when and how. Because no one's sitting in the ER for several hours. I understand their frustrations. And it's just like, I was talking with, to a doctor. His comment was, he understands because ERs aren't set up to practice family medicine. And what is happening is, family medicine is coming in, and actually those doctors, they're there to assess quick and get you gone.
Yeah.
And when you're coming in and saying, I want my blood pressure pills, because they don't have a doctor, they've got to, but it's a circle, because you're not being looked after. You know, that's the problem.
That's where the 811 thing I thought would be out there, and people would be on that list.
Well, it is out there.
It is, but I haven't heard anybody, I mean, maybe you have, Linda, I haven't.
No, there's, nobody has told me yet.
Yeah.
I hope that when people get together, that it isn't viewed from the health board's position as always a negative thing, that people are getting together and talking about healthcare, and it's not something that's necessarily combative, even though I know I can be maybe a little more combative than most in regards to the health authority, but it's kind of what I was saying.
Okay, we're going to move on to 5.4. Annapolis County Warden funding request for Bear River Comfort Center. Myself and the CAO, we met with CAO from Annapolis County and the Warden on Friday afternoon to discuss this. And what it is, they need to do a study pertaining to bringing water into the inner core part of Bear River. And initially, when we first got the letter, prior to us having the meeting, it was like an ask of $10,000. Well, actually, it's not going to be $10,000, it's $5,500. So, it's $11,000 for the study. And once the study is completed, they're looking for the provincial and federal governments to fully fund the project. So,
This would be referred to the, or should we?
Well, I think they need an answer, because they
Okay.
want to start the study. It wouldn't be actually, it would be included in next year's budget.
Okay, I'll make a motion to that effect. I move that $5,500 request for the speech of this
Bear River Comfort Center.
Bear River, to fund the Bear River research on Bear River.
Studies.
What did you say?
Oh, I know. I butchered it. Sorry. I move that we put $5,500 request towards the Bear River Comfort Center study.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
I need more cold medicine on that.
Any
I
questions?
need more.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. This thing is going to be the tax reduction due to fire on property AAN 013-42541.
I so move that we accept the report and grant the fire reduction, tax reduction to the fire.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
I need,
Oh.
the actual write-off.
the $17,000.
No, actually, the motion would be the reduction of the taxes.
That's it.
Which is what I said.
So that's included.
So I'm going to, okay.
That's all right. The motion's okay. and vote.
The council has a policy.
Right.
Yeah, we've had it before, regardless.
Yeah. The next, business item is the Southwest African Heritage Month Gala Dinner. Our main request, and it's to fund a table for a cost of $160. Something we've done in the last few years.
We've done for all of it. My question is, there's no date on here. There, I,
We have a poster.
Oh,
February
sorry.
17th, 6:30. at the
February.
Legion, February the 17th.
February 17th.
That's Saturday, February 17th.
Okay. It's just I've gone over this a couple of times, and I thought, Jimmy, where are you getting the date? I so move that we support Southwest African Heritage Month with the annual Southwest African Heritage Month dinner and gala of buying a table for $160.
I'll second that.
Any questions? All in favor? Approved. The next thing is 5.7, update on rural internet.
That's what that is. For rural internet, I would like to make a motion. We haven't had an update in a while from federal grant money for rural internet, so I'd like to make a motion to send a letter to Colin Frazier, Gordon Wilson, Doran, and their partners asking for an update on the internet funds.
Do you have a second?
I'll definitely second that.
Yeah, we got discussion for Evan's here.
Evan's here.
You can provide some background.
Okay, because my question was going to be, are we requesting correspondence or are we requesting a meeting?
Well, I'd like to see, personally, I'd like to see maybe our MP and MLA look into what the delays are on this, and hopefully they could speed up the process and we can get an answer. So I don't necessarily mean we need a meeting with them, but if they can, in the letter that goes to them, they can ask for them to try to expedite this process for us.
It's a move in their sales, or our sales.
Do you want an update from me while
Yeah.
we're here?
While you're here,
Please.
it'd be good.
Evan's
Yeah,
been in
sure.
touch with them probably fairly regularly, the federal program.
Not with Connect Innovate, no.
No?
I reached out to them before Christmas, and I was told that we had to be patient and essentially that we'd get an answer when it
It was
comes.
ready.
So, and until that time, we wouldn't know. Previously, the initial timeline suggested that the announcements would be available by the fall of 2017, so that time has passed. It was then told to me in November that the announcements would be coming for Nova Scotia in December. That time was also passed. And it was initially hinted that the Western Nova Scotia was a high priority for this program, in that they could tell by looking at the heat map of where internet is and isn't, that we have a very serious shortage in this area. So I was kind of under the impression that we'd have heard something by now.
Other jurisdictions having the same problem? Is this across the board, or is it a decision made by this problem?
There have been decisions made for other provinces, so
Might be
it
for-
initially rolled out in Quebec, primarily in northern Quebec.
Mhm.
I was told something to do with by-elections, I'm not sure if that's true or not. And from there, they really focused on the territories.
Northern Development, remember that?
Yeah, a lot of the time it was satellite internet projects. And in most of those cases, there were some pretty serious private investments as well that would match the funds of the Connecting Rate program. Since then, there's been announcements for Manitoba, British Columbia, a portion of Ontario, just the northern portion, and
West.
Newfoundland and Labrador. So far, I think slightly over half of the funds have been allocated. So remaining still is Saskatchewan, Alberta, the southern portions of Ontario, and the Maritimes.
Some portions of Ontario, you get a big chunk of that alone.
Absolutely.
The whole thing probably.
Saskatchewan's gonna be sort of like us. They have their sketchy and.
I'm sure that if you're outside of a population center, it doesn't matter where in the country you are, you probably have.
Well,
something.
that's what I was gonna say, I have friends, and they say the internet's no better
That's why I
here
think
than
maybe
there.
the weather will help push or,
Exactly.
help say, like, maybe we can get other
Let them know.
municipalities to do the same thing, to let Colin and let people know, like, we're serious about this, we want a piece of this pie, so we can get this going. And that's why I raised the question too, because we get updates from you, it's nice to make it on the record, because people ask all the time, right? And of course, it's the same thing, like, we're supposed to hear in the fall, and fall's come.
And
And
in
then
fairness,
people call you in Christmas time, you know, where's that internet?
In fairness, I think they received double the number of applications
Oh, I
that
bet
they
they did.
expected.
Oh, yeah.
And the federal government has been working quite thoroughly with other federal departments to find extra funds that they can allocate to stretch that money as far as they can. So they've partnered with Indigenous Affairs and some other groups as well.
Super
ACOA
important.
actually in Newfoundland.
Super important for everything, the population, economy, anything we can mention. I mean, why not push the politicians to make sure they know that it's not just me watching. It's like it's the talk at the corner store. It's the talk at at Stanton's internet. People are really keeping an eye on this.
Absolutely.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor, and some second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved, thank you. Thanks, Evan. We're now gonna move into the information items, the correspondence. There was a thank you letter from, the Tourism Association for the Boston Globe Trade Show, thanking us for the contribution we've made to see that could happen. And we received a letter from Minister of Transportation, Roy Ryan, regarding, our ask about phase 2 of the highway project from Marshalltown to Leeds North, and based on the letter, they have nothing in their foreseeable future in their 5-year plan. Saying that, the deputy warden and myself, we spoke to our MP the other day on this, and this letter's been forwarded to him as well. So it's something to keep on his radar, and then it'll be the same thing with our MLA, and and what we've been told too is this 5-year plan is fluid, it can change, so we just have to keep asking, and hopefully we'll get some positive comments.
We'll be having another Highway 101 meeting soon.
Yes, we are.
Within a few months.
So then we're gonna get one.
We were
Colin.
talking April, but I think we may have to have a little sooner, even with our stakeholders type thing.
Mhm.
And the last piece of correspondence with the DVR Tourism Association.
I was sort of wanting to hear what Colin said first.
General information items, the REN CEO's report came in. Had a chance to review that. I will say, I think our REN is doing a very good job, and, for the time that they've been in place and for the staffing that they've got, I'm really impressed with the quality of work that's being done so far. And I really like the degree aspect of that program that they're running. The next thing will be UNICEF Board Initiative report for December. And this, there again, they're focusing on the priorities that we passed in November. And the last was the fire department insurance quotes that came in.
Budget improvement was that over what they've had previously. There was a lot of hope in that process.
Fire departments have Or is it gonna try to get one, plan? No,
With the exception of, Digby.
They are.
They have already, they went through their property and you know, accident or liability insurance, they're all under one provider. This is an add-on
Okay,
for a lot of fire departments and having disabilities. So
Right.
this is
Well, we
for-
need to see that
And
they're
they
getting
are, and they, yes, and they are hoping this will actually also bring in more volunteers.
okay.
Because if you are young
that. Uh-huh,
and you get hurt,
uh-huh.
you want to have something to fall back on because your job is not gonna say it's okay that you fell and broke your leg.
Yeah, for any number of things.
You know.
Dangerous job, dangerous volunteer.
Yeah, and, they all thought it was a wonderful idea.
I just looked at the chart there where the policy had like different amount of disability payments for different departments, so that's why I was questioning were they all under the same one.
What are we supposed to do?
It will be.
It will be.
I don't know, this come after the
Yeah,
original.
it's
site,
still
so-
the same people.
Okay,
The only people that it's an exception to is, Digby Fire Department.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
the ones that, the same,
the rest are working together
Yeah.
to reduce costs.
well, no, there was 3 departments that are.
The
already-
ones that were owned, like the Wayne Fire Department.
Right, Weymouth,
And,
All the villages. Westport was owned by the village.
and
okay, it's those ones, that they have no, they have to.
They can't do it because they're owned by the village, not.
Yeah, that's what I mean, it wasn't just one.
all right, the next was the advisory committee minutes and reports. We've got the joint RCMP advisory board, we've got the minutes of September 2017. Did anybody have any questions pertaining to those minutes? Not. We've got the planning advisory committee from October 2017, the minutes from that. Any questions? Not, the other committee council committees, open spaces policy committee. And I take it to read here the recommendation for human place property.
Yep, what we've done, as you know, we had a public meeting in Haynes Lake, property in Haynes Lake in September, and brought some suggestions forward. People gathered and told us what they were looking for. And at the time we have looked at, we're proposing, the municipality apply for a recreation facility development grant with the province for $75,000. The deadline for the grant is February 5th. What I want to do is put the motion forward that the municipality of Digby apply for the recreation development grant with the province of Nova Scotia for $75,000 to develop the Haynes Lake property, and the municipality contributing $25,000. Do some upgrades to the existing office space there, for some change rooms, some bathroom accessibility. Put a steel roof on the big fire, and basically that's it for now. But then we're gonna have a public meeting coming up. What is it? The 5th February, 8th of February at the fishing meeting.
Okay. So the second for the motion.
I'll second that.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. We're now going to go to the joint municipal committees, minutes and reports. We've got the dark minutes from November and December. Does anybody have any questions? We've got the minutes from December and January. And we've got the AGM minutes from January. Any questions? Just have one.
Okay.
I'd like for Derek to look at, potentially, you're going to a session on economic benefits through recreation. And, I feel that there's good opportunities if we could look at adult, hockey tournaments, because, they are a good generator for the community. especially this time of year, for the restaurants, the hotels. And, for example, if you put on a 12-team tournament, and 10 of the teams were from away, you're gonna put an extra 150 people from the community for the weekend. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there. I noticed that, they posted some minor hockey tournaments, and that's awesome. But it'd be also good if they could look at posting other types of, tournaments as well. Because I think it's a good way to generate revenue, not only for the arena, but also for the whole community.
They've been looking at that type of thing as well. But Danny is going to go to that one as well.
I saw that.
Yeah, okay, just so you know, we are looking.
Curling club, sorry,
I was gonna say, the big thing I wanted to make sure to tell you, the ice is going out on March 18th from the arena and the rink, from the curling club in the arena. And the other thing is the dinner, the volunteer dinner, is going to be on Tuesday, April 17th, not the usual Wednesday. Okay, so I wanted to give you a heads up now, so you won't say it's wrong. We are looking at fire. That is not, I just want to give you the date to
Okay.
confirm that we
That's the date.
decided on.
17th?
17th of April.
All right. Okay, is there any other questions for Dark?
I just wanted to mention the curling club had brought in the police, curling, Lawrenceville. That brought a lot of people in there, great thing.
I went over to the opening ceremony for it, and it was nice that they had that here. It's the first time it's ever been hosted in Digby.
Yeah.
And the winner of that is going to Calgary to represent Nova Scotia. So that's really nice. But that's, I guess, what I'm trying to say. That's a great event, and as I know in the past, they've hosted the Canadian seniors here. But in the other end of the building, on the ice surface for hockey, or you could have hockey, broomball, whatever,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of opportunities there. So, and I know we don't have the same number of people using the facilities we used to 20 years ago. Okay, DDA, October minutes, you've had a chance to look at them, is there any questions? Tidy Terrace, October minutes, any questions? And Waste Check Connections, October, November, and December 2017. And this time, when did you had a, when you wanted to do?
Yes. We'd, okay.
Gonna be a little-
Just to let you know, we are looking at the status of plastic film, which is found in your plastic grocery bag, well, your grocery bag. And what we're going to be talking about is actually the grocery bags. Levels, okay? So, what it is, we have been asked to look at this, so I want to go over it really quick. What is it, plastic film? Well, it's the number 2 LDPE and 4 HDPE thin plastic shopping bags, overwrap, plastic wrap, so produce, frozen vegetable bags, and blue bags for recycling. Now, what's happened? Republic of China in July said we're going to be banning 24 types of scrap, which is including this film plastic at the end of 2017. Now, there's still rumors they might be taking a little bit in 2018, but
It's on the way out.
yeah, it's definitely on its way out. There is some uncertainty on how long and how strict the ban will be enforced, and plastic wrap was banned from landfill by the province of Nova Scotia. Okay, and you remember though, when that was banned, there was really strong markets when that regulation took place. Remember? Now, worldwide, we have some recyclers that have already diverted the material to India, Vietnam, Malaysia, Mexico, and some other countries. But you got to remember, it's nowhere near replaces what China's demand was. Now, facility operators are slowing down their sorting lines, they're adding labor or investing into new equipment. It has also led to service providers in some non-regulated jurisdictions to suspend service, raise prices, or exclude certain materials from their recycling program. That's worldwide. Now, in Nova Scotia, what's been happening, they're stockpiling their bales of plastic film. And long as it's inside, it's fine. But if you're putting it outside,
Sun destroys it.
it's water, rain, all that destroys. Now, Halifax, HRM, did request the province to allow them to allow film until market conditions became available. And other facilities are considering the same request. Halifax has been granted this for a 6-month period. They have not started it yet. Our contractor, okay, for us, is not supportive of landfilling this film at this time and is seeking alternate markets. So just to let you know, okay, for us. Now, we want to tell you in Region 7, we're recycling 193 metric tons of plastic film annually, and the landfill deposit has been 1,000 tons landfilled annually in our region, and Nova Scotians use 300 to 500 million shopping bags annually. This is in Nova Scotia. Okay, flip. Now, litter. I just want to tell you, they're lightweight, they're carried by the wind and water, and they often end up as litter. They take at least 1,000 years to break down, but they never biodegrade. They fragment into small pieces, and what's happened is you have fish thinking it's plankton and eating it, and of course dying because of the plastic. So what we have always tried and most prefer has always been reduce, reuse, recycle, compost, recover, and deposit. Disposal. That's all. Our last one has always been getting rid of it. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Our biggest one has always been try to reduce and reuse. Okay. Now, what is happening with our waste reduction? We want to tell you recycling should be viewed as the least preferred options to our plastic woes. Okay? The best solution is consume less. Reducing our use of plastic bags is an easy place to start. Single-use bags are insufficient use of resources. They are in most cases unnecessary. Most retailers offer reusable alternatives. Now, I'll let you flip just in case I say the flip. Okay. Consuming less. Use recycled bags and rethink all disposals. For example, refuse a bag when one is not necessary and continue to recycle, which a vast majority of our recycling is still being recycled. What has happened, right? They're looking at option 1. Let's try to ban single-use plastic bags. It has happened in Montreal and Victoria. There are always some exceptions to produce bags, the thicker reusable bags. Some retailers have their own bans. Now, that's what I wanted to mention. Like, for example, Costco, there's no bags. You bring your own, or you bring a box, or you get a box there. Walmart, they know it's down 50% from having to, if you want a bag, you pay 5 cents for it. Let's drop 50% for the use of the bag. And they're, that's actually Canada-wide, by the way. Also, Bulk Barn has done the same thing. So, again, if you want to use a bag, you buy it or you bring your own. What we are not talking about, just so you know, we're not talking about a garbage bag. We're not talking about a blue bag. We're not talking about doggy bags. Okay? So, just to make sure everyone understands.
So you're just talking about garbage or like grocery bags?
Grocery bags.
About film wrap?
Right. Because
film wrap?
yeah, that's in the grocery bag. That film wrap is in. Now, it has been banned in many jurisdictions worldwide by all levels of government, in countries, states, and municipalities. In 2012, there's been a national poll conducted, and in actual fact, Canada shows the highest support in the country for banning or the distribution of single-use bags was actually in Atlantic Canada. 63% of us said we don't ban them. Environmental Minister Rankin has asked regional chairs if they would support a provincial ban on January the 11th, 2018. So option one, to reduce plastic film. What's going on next? Option two is the incentive program. Jurisdictions regulate that consumers bring their own bags or pay for each plastic bag, such as Walmart, Walmart, or they have banned it but leave it up to the retailers to charge for your paper or your compostable bag, or reduce plastic shopping bags by approximately 50%, which I've already mentioned in that incentive program. And option three is voluntary participation. Educate to the public sector to use reusable alternatives, and retailers volunteer to participate. That should end it, I believe. Oh, sorry. The Retail Council of Canada position on reduction by order is mandate business to develop individual plans on single-use item reduction, impose a voluntary fee we charge on single-use items, impose a mandatory fee set by regulation by law, but leaving the business to decide what they are to do with collected funds. Retailers do not support fees submitted to the government due to the significant administrative burdens. Now, what I am asking here tonight, I know it's been a lot on your plate, but I need to go back to waste check. But our council, would we want option one, option two, or option three? And I think what you're going to find a lot of looking options.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go around and ask everybody their opinion.
Yeah, no, but I'm just mentioning.
Council Bieber.
Microplastics and microbeads in the water are being recognized as a huge threat to fishing industries in general. It causes pollution. They consume it. It gets these petrochemicals into the weed. I'm 100%, and I'd be glad if someone got mad at me. I would need 100% one. Ban this stuff. It's poison, and it's getting in our rivers, our streams, and our ocean. And I'm sure one of the reasons that our area was a little higher is because we're near the ocean. We see the people are reading maybe about this. You do see these bags all over the places. I've dug dumps and found 60-year-old garbage bags just like they just the other day for collecting bottles. And so, yeah, get rid of these awful things.
Okay. Councilor Manzo.
Yeah, option one for me, and if, I don't know what the province is gonna do, or Waste Check is gonna do, but I'd even go as far as to say the municipality come up with their own bylaw, or whatever.
Which does happen.
And ban
Yeah.
the bags themselves, so I don't know if we can do that, but,
I don't
think they should be.
We don't have.
Toronto and places like Halifax.
But, I think we need to get rid of them.
Okay. Councilor Ross.
Well, I don't mind option one, but my thing is I'd like to see some incentive by the major stores like Walmart, blah blah, Sobeys, to kind of help people who can't always afford to buy these alternative bags for carrying stuff. That's just my 2 cents worth. Yeah, I did have to. But I would like to see some of these companies step up for the people who can't afford the $2-3. But I can't remember what they are now. But they can get pricey.
That's a good suggestion. Very good.
Happy word. Liberty.
I actually personally like number two, but I can live with number one. I'm like you, I like the incentive program. Just to make it clear, I understand that things have to be dealt with. And so I can, number one is where I get, but I like number two the best.
I'd like to say I support number one as well. The thing is too, with number one, Western region has been a leader in Nova Scotia for a number of years when it comes to waste reduction. Nova Scotia has been a leader in Canada for waste reduction. And it would be, we'd be going in the wrong direction if we decided not to go with option one, just based on our past history and what we've been doing. And, this initiative will have to be supported by our region, which I can't see why it wouldn't be. But then it would give a clear message to the minister on how the province could move forward. But I think option one is probably, it's come right now, we've got to deal with it. But I do agree with Councillor Ross that it would be nice to see some program in place where people have the ability to get some reusable bags that are really very
Low cost, for what they're gonna be
Yep.
using, you know, the grocery store you go every day, right?
I do wanna tell you, Sobeys, I think is $1 something for their bag.
99 cents.
99 cents, but they're for life. So if you buy 3 bags and you rip one, you take it in, they give you a new one. I actually had one that, something I bought, anyway, ruined the bottom of it. And again, they said, well, of course, replace it. So that is,
But the public know that.
well, it says lifetime,
I never knew that.
I use.
Well, I use those bags already, so I haven't even done
Good
it.
for life or something.
They're good for life, and if you have a problem. Now, I can't tell you what the rest of them, I can only tell you that Sobeys does that.
But if they all did that, then it would be
Oh,
a
yeah.
good way to convert.
It's also advertising.
Oh, I know.
And actually, this is funny,
Education.
in my car, I have right now, like, I don't know how many reusable bags, but I'm gonna go around and give some away. You want them, you have them tonight.
Alright.
Because I have too many at home.
Automakers need to make us a little compartment too for them, so we can shove it in.
So then what I will do is go back to Waste Check and tell them we picked option one.
We'll make a motion.
Oh, okay, that would be wonderful. I would like someone else to make that motion besides me for this.
David?
That we would like to take back, send to let Linda Gregory take back to Waste Check that we have decided on option one to be brought forward at the meeting.
I move that, we decide that municipality district really has decided to go with option one of the 3 options, as, presented by Waste Check.
You have a second.
I'll second
Any questions?
One more thing, maybe that would be a good, project for us, for, with Waste Check to buy a bunch of these, back bags and, as part of the rollout and becoming greener and we get a little phone number on it.
I can bring that forward right now, I don't know.
I just wanted to throw that in.
All in favor of the motion?
I, now that we've done that, I do want to read this because I didn't want to read it. I will tell you the one next to us has already made the decision, which is called Valley Waste. And it says, whereas single-use plastic bags are a worldwide source of persistent and widespread pollution on land and in the sea, and whereas markets for plastic film recycling include single-use plastic bags are limited and costly where they do exist, and whereas a province-wide ban in Nova Scotia is an important step in educating Nova Scotians to use recyclable products rather than disposable ones, therefore be it resolved that Valley Region Solid Waste Resource Management Authority, Region 5, supports a province-wide ban on single-use plastic bags, provided that the ban is part of a province-wide strategy and promotional campaign to reduce the use of all single-use plastic products. Just so you know.
Sounds great.
Yep.
Well,
But I didn't think that was fair to tell you that before.
And also that percentage you showed, all those things can be trending upwards, like 64% approved, year after year, those things trend up as people become more educated about these issues.
All right, next thing is the Western Canada Regional Library, and we've got minutes there for September 2017. Just one thing I want to add to that is that I've been sitting on the committee reviewing the core service level for what a library should provide. We've had 3 meetings to date, another one scheduled for February, and it's moving along quite well. So hoping that we have something that can go back to the minutes for March. But it's, you need to do this to determine what service level should be for the libraries for each service. And trying to look at it for the whole problem, not just one region. So that's moving along well. So I'll keep you updated as we move forward with that. The next thing on the agenda is the outside boards, committees, minutes, and reports. We've got October minutes. So
I was just going to ask you a question of the Western Counties Regional Library. I was reading how in California they did a fine forgiveness program where if you sat in, it might just be for young people, or if you sat in the library, you got $5 an hour knocked off. What they were finding down in California is that people were giving their bills up, and then they're like, well, I never go to the library again. And this didn't impact the bottom line because I know the fines were, the libraries are on a real, they haven't had any additional investment. How? It was something I thought was interesting. I'd like to, I would mention to you. And they found that it was a very successful program, got more people in the libraries, and it didn't impact really what was, because it was fine, but people just weren't paying and were not going to the library anymore. So, I just thought you were right.
I think we've got a program in place, our policy where we waive the community fund so that we can get people back in. We have a policy in place now.
Maybe did you push it?
So we've got the Dow October minutes, the November report, and the November 2016 EG minutes. Any questions? Not. Bigby Harbor Port Association. You've got the September minutes and the November managers report.
There's no wait for me for the last meeting, and they didn't have a quorum.
So what we did discuss is what's happening at the wharf, and they need meeting conditions and notes before, so I cannot bring forward what was discussed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda, for going from my attention.
The next is Transport to Clare. You've got the minutes there from September of 2017. Any questions?
Just want to say congratulations for being secretary. Nice minutes.
Okay.
For your name.
I'm the secretary name only usually.
Oh, I was impressed.
Oh, were you? Yeah, okay.
Transport to Clare is turning into being hugely, like, as beneficial as it was like 3 or 4 years ago with my area. They've made some real inroads lately, especially with people that might have otherwise neglected to take advantage of the service. Very poor, mentally ill. Very good for getting people to appointments. They've really been improving continuously the entire time I've known the organization. And it's still going on. So, yeah.
One thing, if you drive down by where their office used at the old courthouse, you used to see the buses parked out front there. Well, they have moved locations, so you won't see the buses there anymore. Down just past the road where you went to the high school, where the old French NSC or community college was. In behind there, just in behind there, that building not being used. So they rented that as more office space or needed more space, more room to expand, and there wasn't enough space available. They had moved locations. You don't see buses anymore.
She seems like a dynamo.
Just
managing like a real dynamo.
She's a governor.
Oh, yeah.
just on the note of the Transport to Clare, it's very sad to hear about Clarendon Love Show passing, and his funeral's going to be in the spring, I guess. So.
Yeah, there's people that are going to send down one of the buses to the islands because there's a number of people very thankful for what he's done for them. If any of us could be as useful a person as Clarendon, what a great thing, eh?
He did a huge amount of work for the whole province when it comes to transportation. So.
Yeah.
Okay, the next is the Upper Commons Park November minutes. Is there any questions? Okay, we've got council district activity reports. I'll start with Council Peter.
I'll be on CBC Information Morning tomorrow, talking about how wonderful our school is and my never-ending quest to get Briar Island, Long Island good press. So I'll be there rocking the scene tomorrow at 6 in the morning. Looking for housing for people. There's, how people rent their houses out in the summer, so the people who've been living in for the winter are now all scrambling and looking for places to live. And I've also been kind of interested. We had quite a few young people move to the island to do lobster fishing. Like they came from down like PEI, where the lobster fish was not nearly as lucrative, and they moved down and they're like, I'm going to live here. So that's very good. Wood bank, like always, doing good. Hasn't been overly full, so I still have some wood left. And the Briar Islands Trail Society got together, which is the accumulation of years of effort. Let me tell you. And it went wonderfully. It was a great meeting, and I've got a lot of optimism, and just want to thank all the money and support that has come from you guys through the years also for that project. Especially, it's good that you know that.
I don't have my December calendar here, so I'll just kind of bypass that. But in January we didn't have there were Monday night meetings, but the meeting last Thursday for the cadets of the Wings Legion to try and look into their like a location problem they're having with a building and storage space for their equipment. So. Other than that, there's not very much going on in January, and a couple meetings next week.
Did breakfast with Santa before Christmas. My usual meetings and stuff in December. The breakfast at the church in Barton. In February, like on the 8th, 6:30, Jeff? 6:30, we're going to have an open space public meeting at the Big Beach Fishing Game at the Haynes Lake. So,
When was that?
It's going to be February 8th at 6:30. February 8th.
What time?
We'll be circulating that information.
Yeah, we're going to circulate it. But, other than that, meetings.
Lots of meetings.
I didn't quite know how to ask this for King's Transit, where it's not on the agenda. Is it?
Anything that we receive, we put on the agenda. If we don't receive any reports, it's not on the agenda.
Okay, because I had sent about our manager leaving. And I know it got sent out, but
It went out to everybody
Yeah.
at that time. Yeah.
okay, but
Better than
that
agenda
was,
last
I
week.
just
It wasn't
wanted,
a report, we try to keep it to minutes and reports.
so I just want to make sure everyone does know that our manager is leaving, and we have hired Cheryl Walsh Company who are looking for a new manager. We have an intern in place now until then. I just wanted to, I just wasn't sure how to do that. So, now, just for my activities, I did breakfast with Santa. Our New Year's levee was super great this year. The princess came and served and did everything the whole time.
Who's the princess now? I forget.
Oh,
sorry.
I will get it to the you. Lovely girl.
And there's a new one.
She's from the island.
It's still her? Still Claudia?
Not Claudia, another one.
Oh, Outhouse. Barnaby.
Barnaby.
Jeff and Amy Barnaby.
Yeah.
Jeff Outhouse, Amy Barnaby's
Yeah.
daughter.
Lovely, anyway,
Wonderful girl.
I just wanted to say that. The other thing that I am going to mention well in advance, Salvation Army House, I actually helped serve, to help, I'm not Salvation Army, but for people in the area. And you are going to be getting a letter sometime later this year that I am going to be asking for everyone to try to donate 3 hours through the month of December, 3 hours to work the kettle. Because if we have enough people working the kettle, we get, the first year we did it, we had $34,000 come into the Digby area, and that all stays in the Digby area. And so we've been talking, and one thing we're looking at is asking our officials, or even any of the staff, but to give, and it is, we're asking for 3 hours, but one 3-hour shift. So I wanted to bring that up now, so you can think in about
Next year?
for December.
My misunderstanding, so what's the kettle?
Salvation Army kettle.
You sit there and ring the bell?
You don't have to ring the bell. You can sing, you can talk, you can just be quiet. So, but I'm mentioning it now because I will be sending out a letter.
You'll have to remind me by then, man.
But I just wanted to say
To let you know.
that it does, because we are worried about the economics in our area, I'm just bringing it up because it was brought to me because I attend and help. So I wanted to say that. The other thing that I am just doing is looking at people for looking at real estate in the area and wanting to buy, which was really interesting. I'm like you, public housing, trying to help. I've had quite a few meetings with different people. The other thing that I attended was a public agriculture meeting, which we discussed what was going on for what we wanted to give to the province, like we talked about with salmon aquaculture, what we should be doing. They brought up they want to keep cleaning, even though that isn't. These are from other companies that the Nova Scotia Agriculture wants to keep cleaning up beaches all around the province.
They should be doing something because it's the automatic, it's not mine. When you see a huge salmon cage and tons of debris everywhere after a storm, it's nice to see they're taking some leadership.
Oh yeah, great responsibility. They're working with the government on making sure everything can be environmentally friendly. The one thing they are stopping using is chemicals to clean lice on fish. Actually, hot water works, but you got to be careful you don't burn the fish or kill the fish with the hot water, but it does work. And because of that, they are switching over using more and more less chemical
That's
to make
really
it
good
more
news.
fish friendly.
Especially after the fish kill and the funding there a few years ago on the New Brunswick side.
So, and they're still trying to manage things. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that I did, and then I attended the financial management for elected officers as well as Councillor Ross. Sorry, Matthew, I was trying to be professional here. I actually thought it was an excellent program, and even though I'm an old dog, I learned a lot of new tricks. I will tell you, there was a very amount of people there from all over the province, good questions, and there was a few things that really came home and made things really bright. They talked about the audit committee, they talked, a lot of stuff, and I don't know the right word, but I found it really interesting and was so pleased that I attended. The other and last thing I'm going to bring up is I attended the Digby Neck Women's Walk in San Diego.
You did, good.
That, remember, the walk, people thought the walk was against Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump. I'm going to tell you what it has to do with equal rights. We got the vote in Nova Scotia, when I say we, meaning women, in 1918, right? 100 years ago. Guess what? We still don't get equal pay. We still are not thought of, and a lot of things were brought up. I will tell you that TV was there, I think CTV, and they did some interviewing, but the walk was horribly hard for me. We walked from the school to the fire hall and back. Well, I'll be honest.
That's a long walk.
Yeah, well, I only went one way.
Downhill. That's the way I do.
Well, it was, but I just want to say, It was a great turnout, I would say at least 40-some people.
International
Much
press.
more
International
than the
press.
16 the year before, and looking at more. You know, I had the opportunity just to talk to some of the people that didn't go on the walk, but saying, why are you walking? And going over it, because it's to deal with women's issues, women's rights. Not, and men walk, the little guy, Evan, thank you.
My brother shamed me because I didn't know what was going on. I don't on Facebook anymore.
Oh, okay, so
That's what shamed
Evan
me
and
today.
his wife and child walked. I mean, there was men walking, it was, like I said, I just wanted to, I know it's taken up time, but it was an excellent walk, and, if next year, I will send out messages if anybody is interested in attending. I'm actually going to start going to the YMCA because I want to make that trip up and back. Then I gotta do something to do it.
Okay, so,
That's everything, thank you.
okay, I'll be brief. I attended the meeting in Weymouth with George, regarding the cadets, and, Melanie Gordon was there as well. And, they had a good turnout of people, and they did a presentation to everybody there about the program. And, I gotta say, you know, really commend the people that are very devoted to operating that program. It's been operating, consecutively for 25 years in Weymouth. But the program actually started in Weymouth in 1915. And, yes, so it lapsed there for a bit when they didn't have enough leaders, but, like I said, the people that are there now, they've been doing the program for 25 years, and they really put their heart and soul into that. And the cadets come from Clare as well as from up this way.
Islands.
Yeah, it's an Army cadet. So they're looking at trying to find a new home, and there's been a committee struck. George is going to sit on the committee, and I said I'd sit on it as an alternate if he couldn't attend the committee meetings. So we're going to try to come up with a solution for them. With healthcare, I had a meeting with Gordon, Ben, and Neil regarding healthcare last Friday, and a good meeting. And like I said earlier, we may be looking at trying to go to Sherbrooke. And I talked to Gordon Wilbon yesterday, and he indicated that he probably attend as well. So I think there's some good opportunities there. I went to Halifax about a week ago, had a meeting with Mr. Mombercat through the CBSC, rolling out the new assessment role. And we always meet with the minister prior to submitting the role publicly, so that they have a heads up and they know exactly what's coming on the pipe. So I attended the opening ceremonies for the RCMP and Police Association in Sterling Bonesfield here, and they were very thankful that we came up to go to that. Myself and the mayor went to the opening ceremonies, and it was really nice to see Mr. Monmouth there, Stewart, and he's actually the national president for the whole association across Canada for the curling. So it was kind of nice that he was there. I hadn't seen him since he left Digby. And then there was a meeting here last week too regarding the community center for the Jordantown Pacific Conway building committee meeting, and it's coming along well. The province is going to allocate some money so that they can look at getting a project manager in place.
Proud we were able to help with that. Proud we were able to help with that.
Yes, and yeah, I am too. And so that's all positive and good. And like I said, I think with healthcare, we've had some good discussions lately, and hopefully we're going in the right direction. That's it. We have no in-camera tonight, so at this time, do you have any questions for us?
I actually have something I'd just like to say that about the healthcare. I know that there was a bit of maybe consternation about the story that came out, and that people felt it was negative. I did try to sit down actually, I did sit down with the site manager of Digby Hospital, and we had an hour-long interview that was taped, and at the end of it, he said, of course, you can't use anything that I just said, because all communications have to go through our communications office. So that's why there was a delay, and I have yet to have another meeting set up. I've had that request in for a week and a half now, and I've yet to have that meeting set up with the communications team. That's why there's a lag, so we made the decision to just go with, we're piecing the story out. So their piece will come, but they haven't yet given me the time.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And Hubert was amazing, and he expressed his own frustration.
That's even
Thanks for sharing that.
Courage has been dealt.
Do you have any other questions for us?
I don't think so, unless, do you share this by email at all? I think, can you just email?
We can email you the
That would be
package.
great.
Yeah.
That would be very helpful, thank you.
Well, nice meeting you.
Thank you.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not sitting. But now I have to go drive for an hour.
Good thing